So, been a bit since we've looked at That Vegan Teacher and what she's been up to. That Vegan Teacher has a video on her feelings on 9/11. I decided to not cover 9/11 stuff on 9/11 because, I have opinions on 9/11, but frankly, I don't really feel like sharing them most of the time. And also, kind of distasteful. So I figured I'd wait. I'm thinking about maybe doing a stream tomorrow since 9/11 is over, covering, since tomorrow's Tinfoil Tuesday, some 9/11 conspiracy theories and debunking them and talking about why they became so prolific. Maybe. I guess we'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. But today, let's see what That Vegan Teacher thinks about 9/11.
Hello students. Today we're going to be looking at my Instagram account, and specifically an account that popped up today that I thought would be interesting for you to know about. So this account is called Deep Vegan. You can see it there, Deep_Vegan.
She is Canadian.
This is a young man and he lives in Sweden. You can see it there for you.
For the record, this says, everyone be mourning the victims of 9/11. And I'm over here just thinking about all the non-vegan arguments I could use to say that it wasn't a bad thing that it happened.
To know about. So this account is called Deep Vegan. You can see it there, Deep_Vegan. This is a young man and he lives in Sweden, but his English is very good. So he writes here.
Dudeman says, one of my high school history teachers was 9/11 truther. Oh no, they shouldn't be a teacher. Nick says, I'ma supersize that, yikes.
Everyone be mourning the victims of 9/11. I'm just over here thinking about all the non-vegan arguments I could use to say it wasn't a bad thing that it happened.
Such as? Elaborate, please.
Life is cruel, get over it. People dying is natural. It's the circle of life. Try telling a lion that it's wrong to kill a zebra.
Okay, I haven't heard the life is cruel, get over it one for vegans. For arguing against veganism or whatever. Or against, talking about animal cruelty. So I can't really speak to that one. People dying is natural. Flying planes into a building to murder people isn't. It's the circle of life. Again, no. Part of the human life cycle or animal life cycle is not flying planes into buildings and murdering them. Try telling a lion that it's wrong to kill a zebra. This one's kind of comes off as bigoted because it casts the role of the lion as people who are Muslim or even just Islamic extremists and implies that it's like in their nature to murder. They're already dead. Can't say I've heard that one. I didn't kill them, though. And if humans didn't kill each other, they would keep overpopulating and taking over the planet. That one's actually kind of true. Sorry, bad joke. No, serious. This is gonna be a bad video.
They're already dead. I didn't kill them, though.
Amazing Physicist says, I have a feeling about 9/11. It was a wild day. Or, I have feelings about 9/11. It was a wild day for a 16-year-old. I must say, though, Vegan Teacher's opinion is one that I could not give two fucks less about.
If humans didn't kill each other, they would keep overpopulating and taking over the planet.
Nick says, am I the only one who laughs uncontrollably at ridiculous shit like this and the Femboy 9/11 ASMR? No, I do, too. It's not because it's actually funny. When I laugh at something like that, it's because it's so fucking ridiculous that someone even made that thing. Like, it's not funny. It's terrible that that person made that thing. And this is terrible. But it's like, it breaks my brain. Who does this? Stephen J. Neptune Man says, is this already a contender for the Hall of Shame? It might be. We'll see how it goes. The Femboy what now? Oh, you missed the beginning of the stream. Femboy 9/11 happened.
If we didn't kill each other, a lot of people would lose their jobs. Might makes right.
Flying planes into buildings isn't a job. And I disagree with might makes right as a statement.
So I can see some sarcasm here. They were killed humanely. At least they got to live. They had a good life, though. Their death was...
Okay, people who don't understand what Femboy 9/11 is, do I need to replay the Femboy 9/11?
Huh? Why am I so big? In more ways than one.
Baha told me no. I'm sorry.
quick and painless. God says...
You're just kidding. I don't need to play it again. Look it up yourself.
It's okay. They're just animals. Alright, so we're looking again at some of his stuff. This is Deep Vegan. So someone wrote to him, so you don't care about the 20,000 lives that got taken away by some selfish men? You're disgusting.
20,000? Where are they getting that number? Because as far as I understand, are they counting people who suffered, like, lung issues and cancers and stuff after the fact? I guess that would make sense. I'm not sure what the total on that is. But the actual day, as far as I understand, it was like 3,000. Princess Amelia says, at least I downloaded the Femboy 9/11 video so I can enjoy it anytime I want. Logard says, literally the only meme that came out of 9/11 that I could not help but laughing at was a shot across the bay from New Jersey after the towers fell and there was just a huge cloud over New York. The subtitle is, weed legalized in New York City. Oof. Ew.
No.
Maybe the wars following 9/11? It's weird, though, when people say that and they only count the American death toll. Is that 3,000 or whatever plus the American death toll? Because way more than that died in Iraq and Afghanistan that were civilians. I swear to God, some people don't consider people from a different country human beings. It's so weird.
No, I don't care about animal abusers dying. Why would I? A non-vegan dying just means they can no longer continue to torture and mass murder other animals. Like, honestly, give me a valid argument in favor of why I should value the lives of people who go about their lives forcing others to be enslaved, raped, kidnapped, imprisoned, tortured, murdered, just for the sake of their own pleasure and convenience. I guess he's referring to people who murder in the poultry industry, in the egg industry.
This is the worst thing. I hope to, please, I will, vegan God. Hi, it's me, Hannah. Please have vegan teacher admonish this person and say, hey, I'm pretty extreme, but even I think this is a little much. Please let her recognize the error of this man's ways. Do not allow this 50-year-old woman to believe that it is okay to justify 9/11 by saying they ate meat and therefore they decided to die in a building that collapsed on top of them. Thank you, and also sorry for eating meat. And cheese. Please make vegan cheese better. The end. I don't know how to end a prayer. Simple Cat Girl says there's no middle finger big enough.
And also in the fishing industry.
If any vegan lost someone they cared about in that event, then I'm sorry for your loss. But in regards to everyone who died in the event, as long as they are not vegan, I don't see why that is a bad thing. You can get triggered.
I don't know know if I've literally ever seen a vegan just completely not care about the lives of human beings that aren't vegan before. Like, isn't this kind of counterintuitive to the whole giving a shit about other living things thing?
By my opinion all you want and go on about how, like, I'm disgusting because I don't care about human lives. But honestly, try to give me a valid argument other than they're humans, because that isn't an...
They're humans. That's an argument. End of sentence. You're a person. You should have the empathy. If you have empathy for non-human animals, you should have at least that amount of empathy for human animals, because you are one. That's typical. Most people have empathy at minimum for human beings. At minimum.
an argument. My reason for not valuing the lives of humans is based on logic. I used to care about humans.
Oh, he's a big brain boy like Ben Shapiro. He uses facts and logic to dictate why he doesn't care about the deaths of other human beings. I was going to feel bad about a child dying, but I found out they liked Chicken McNuggets, so fuck 'em!
Before I went vegan, but then I went vegan, and after a while I realized what egocentric pieces of shit most humans are, which is why I stopped valuing them. And since I don't care about horrible people who don't think animals deserve respect, Nazis, homophobes, sexists, all the horrible people in this world.
Just curious. Hitler was a vegetarian in the last years of his life. So does he, care more about Hitler than, an average victim of 9/11? Or any of the people who were killed in the subsequent Middle Eastern wars that were completely fucking unwarranted? Legit. If this guy had a gun with one bullet, and it's Hitler as a vegetarian... I believe he was only vegetarian. I don't think he was vegan. Hitler vegetarian in his last years. And some Iraqi child who eats meat. And someone says, you have to shoot one. Just curious. Nick says, that's one hell of a beard for a 13-year-old. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, this is making me pretty happy that I'm having chicken for dinner tonight. Zero M80 says, here's some Ren Fair cleanse.
In character. In character. Wrong answers only. In character. Wrong answers only. In character. Wrong answers only. Oh, okay. In character. Wrong answers only.
That's what I did. I went.
What? Wait. I'm attached. Oh no! Oh no! In character, wrong answers only. In character, wrong answers only.
Cheese.
Oh, yes.
Cheese.
Cheese.
That's my Ren Fair character. If I go to the Ren Fair, that's my character.
In character, wrong answers only.
Oh.
Cheers. In character, wrong answers only. Ah! Wrong
Don't
answers
put
only.
strangers' hands in your mouth, even as a gag. That's not good. Don't bite strangers.
Who just
Bite your friends. With consent. Nick says, in honor of vegan teacher, I'm eating some cereal with milk, about to drink the milk. Guys, I get it. I get that joke, but it's the most played out joke ever, and every time we watch a vegan teacher video, it's the joke everyone makes. Haha, we're watching vegan teacher. I'm eating meat. I'm eating cheese. I'm ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I know. The issue is not with veganism. The issue is with the fact that she is a piece of shit. I'm sure there are plenty of vegans in my audience. We don't need to be rude about veganism just because she's shitty.
force suffering and death upon others because
Am I your friend, Uwu? No.
they want to, because they believe themselves to be superior. That is why I don't value the lives of humans anymore, because most humans are like that. They want others to be forced to suffer and die just because those others were born into a different body than they were, and because they derive pleasure and convenience from it. Whereas your reason for valuing human lives, correct me if I'm wrong, is based on the fact that they are humans. It's either that or the fact that they are sentient beings. But if that
Sapient, more so.
is your argument, then you have to value all sentient beings. Hitler, Nazis, literally everyone included.
Okay, people get the benefit of the doubt initially, right? Like, you're a human being. I don't know anything about you, but you're a human being. You get empathy, and then you lose that when you do things like start a fascist government and exterminate millions of people you consider degenerate. Funny how that works, huh? Want to go to the Ren Fair this weekend? Maybe. Well, maybe. How far away is it? The Colston says, are you sure this isn't Vincent Van Gogh from Doctor Who? No, he's got both his ears. Nick says, if a sentient being is an existential threat to other sentient beings, you try to stop the sentient being. Yeah. Sounds like he's describing himself.
And if that is how you feel, then that's fine. Like, you can be logically consistent with that belief. It's just that I don't feel the same way. I don't judge people who don't value the lives of non-humans, who are, to me, worth a lot more than humans, as long as...
You think... This is technically subjective. It is... I would say it's... This is going to sound like nonsense, but I don't know how else to get my point across. It is objectively subjective to say that, like, the value of human and animal life is subjective. Technically, yes. I can't philosophically disagree with that point. Practically speaking, subjectively, no. You're a human being. That's not usually how it works. And that makes you, like, incongruent with the vast majority of human beings on the planet, except for, like, sociopaths? I don't know. Less than an hour? Maybe. We'll talk about it when the stream's done.
you respect them. That is all that matters, because you can't choose
I assume they're almost done for the season, because it's, you know, about to be fall.
how you feel. But if you think I am disgusting for not valuing the life of the average human, then you are just saying that I am disgusting because I was born with a brain that works differently from yours. Like, I can't choose how I feel. I can only choose how I act. It's the same for all of us.
Maps and Mimics, thanks for 8 months, says Stream Baby is almost due. Also, that flower crown is kick-ass. Purple is my favorite color, though, so maybe I'm biased. It's my favorite color, too.
So all that really
If you can
matters is whether or not I treat others with respect or not. Which is exactly what I'm advocating for when I speak up for animal rights. I am telling people that they should treat others with respect. I am not telling people how they should feel. I'm not telling people, like, hey, you should value...
Okay, so she's not going to disagree with this guy. She agrees. She says, fuck the victims of 9/11 because meat.
...non-human animals at the same level as you value humans. Like, there would be no point in telling someone that because that person can't choose how they feel about humans versus non-humans, even if there's no logic behind it. But go ahead and tell me I'm disgusting for being born with a brain
You're disgusting.
that functions differently from yours. Even
You not having empathy for human beings isn't a differently functioning brain. You're just an asshole.
though I can do nothing about it.
Like, this isn't being neurodivergent. You're just an asshole.
Spoiler alert, I don't care what you think.
I'm sure you don't. You don't seem to have a lot of empathy, which is kind of necessary to, you know, care what other people think of you to some extent.
So here, he says, or somebody writes, you're taking the piss. People died, and you think it's okay to say you don't care that they died just because they're not vegan is disgusting. People's families died, mothers, fathers, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wife. You're a sick man. And then he writes here, this animal abuser is proving my point. You literally have no argument. The animals you forced to be tortured and murdered have families too.
Not in the human sense. Rageology says, interesting fact that I recently learned from a book on pharmacology in the World War II. Hitler's doctor never told him that the vitamin injections he gave him were made from boiled down bull penises, so he wasn't really vegetarian. Also, Hitler's doctor gave him, on at least 2 occasions towards the end of his war, speedball injections to pep him up a bit. Oh, and he was also addicted to cocaine nasal swabs he was getting for ear pain, resulting from the bomb attempt on his life. Beautiful.
Whether or not someone has a family or not doesn't determine their worth. These are the words of Deep Vegan.
Okay, but typically people assume your humanity does. So you're going to get judged by people for that, because most people, and when I say most, I mean like 99.9% of people on the planet are going to disagree with you. That's just how it is. You're going to get criticized for being a piece of shit, because most people are going to think you're a piece of shit. Her camera
What
work
about
creeps
all the
me out.
Nazis who were killed during World War II? They were part of families too. Do you mourn those deaths
No, they were Nazis! They were Nazis? Guess what? You know what's not going to convince people that veganism is a good thing or reasonable? Comparing general population people, the majority of people on the planet, to Nazis. Not going to help your case.
too? What's disgusting is that people care more about dead oppressors than they do about living victims. Again, we're looking at Deep Vegan's Instagram account. A message from the same person. Well, I'm not going to stop eating because you told me I have to watch the documentary, and I just don't. I'm going to stop. Scan animals, you can't stop me, bitch. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what that means.
Geometry Boy says,
And
do you
then
mind if I
Deep
post the
Vegan
GoFundMe again? Sorry for doing this, Hannah. No, go for it.
Well, I'm not going to care about humans just because you told me to. You can't stop me, bitch. Oh boy. All right, so now Deep Vegan is going on. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Just trying to pause it here. And so the other person says to him, but animals don't pay taxes, so they can't do anything. Just because you protest doesn't mean I will stop eating meat.
That's a stupid argument. The value of life has nothing to do with whether or not they pay taxes. I don't like the other person arguing with the idiot, too.
Deep Vegan writes, do you pay taxes? Do babies pay taxes? No? Okay. So then you and all children, other children, should be tortured.
Wait, why does he assume the guy who responded to him doesn't pay taxes? Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, I do feel bad for people who are forced to be Nazis out of survival, especially the younger ones that were groomed at a young age. Yeah. Jojo Rabbit. Good movie, by the way. Check it out.
And murdered, right? Do homeless people pay taxes?
Interesting, dark, satirical comedy from Taika Waititi about a kid who is in the Hitler Youth and sort of his view of the war, and I won't spoil sort of the plot, but it's good. I'd recommend it.
Should they be enslaved too? No, because they have no money. Don't be stupid. Just leave me alone. Do your victims have money? Just leave the animals alone, you dumb fuck. The person responds,
The kind of people who argue against veganism piss me off because their arguments are usually the dumbest shit ever. Don't get me wrong, in this case, of course, the 9/11 vegan guy is also terrible, but like, this guy's argument against veganism is animals don't pay taxes? What the fuck? Why are so many people so bad at arguing their viewpoints? Just make arguments that make sense. Animals don't pay taxes. Kirthan says, you and all other children. Wait, so is he talking to a child? I honestly don't know. If he is, that's kind of hilarious. Then he's also calling a kid a dumb fuck, which is probably true. But all kids are dumb fucks, so.
no, because I have lamb for dinner and I can't wait.
And then that would make sense, but it would also be worse because then you have an adult vegan trying to dunk on a kid who is too young to understand moral arguments probably for or against veganism.
So Deep Vegan is still
Check out Cherry Tree Boy's link if you want to help out with an emergency vet visit.
going on in this conversation.
It's always so funny.
Link is in
Let's
chat.
pause it here and try and see. You're the one who says we should respect other people's choices. So you need to let us activists choose to do what we are going to do. You need to shut the fuck up by your own logic. Then the person says, just leave me alone, mate. And then Deep Vegan says, no, leave the animals alone. The person says, don't tell me what to do. Deep and continues, just leave me alone, please. I'm sorry for eating what I want. Just fuck off, you small-minded prick. Deep Vegan responds, golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated yourself. So I'm going to assume you don't want to be respected since you choose to not respect others. And the person says, fuck off, please. Then he
This has got to be like a 12-year-old or something. I don't know. I guess I should say I don't know any adults who talk like this, but I think I do. I cover a lot of them, so.
says, LOL. Fuck off, you wanker. We're looking at Deep Vegan's
It's always
account.
so funny when non-vegans
This is on his Instagram account.
tell me to leave them alone in DMs when they are always the one to initiate the conversation.
I'm excited, chat. This is off topic, but my ADHD is making me open these. I was able to get a PlayStation 5, and I got a purple faceplate for the controller when it comes in later this week. I'm very excited. And I got this heat sink that I'm gonna have to install for the. I bought an extra 2 terabytes of solid state memory for it. And I gotta figure out how to install a heat sink on an SSD, and I don't know how. So here's hoping I don't break it.
Conversation. They are always the one to send the first message. Like, they look me up on Instagram. They send me a
I've been wearing my immortality rings. I haven't. For those who missed the last episode where I talked about this, remember the guy who invented the immortality rings who's super into incest porn? I got the rings. But no, I haven't been wearing them. I am aging normally, unfortunately.
message defending animal cruelty, and then it ends with them telling me to leave them alone. Oh my god. Yeah, humans just love to victimize themselves in any situation.
Then he has a post here, stop consuming honey, the problem with honeybees, bee extinction, why we're saving the wrong bees. Interesting. Sweden bee save. And then Deep Vegan says, I don't think that's wrong.
I heard an interesting argument, and this isn't, I don't expect this to convince any vegans specifically of, like, the ethical or unethical nature of honey, but I did hear an argument that made me go, hadn't thought of that before the other day. And it was basically that honey is one of the only animal products, if not the only animal product, that is ethical, because the bees basically consent to give it to humans because bees are allowed to leave the hive anytime they want. They can, if they're being mistreated, apparently, bees will leave the beekeeper hives that they're in and just go find homes elsewhere. Nothing is keeping them in that beehive. They're allowed to relocate. But if they're treated well, then they stay there and they know their honey's getting taken. It happens all the time and they're fine with it. Again, I'm not saying that necessarily makes them vegan, but I hadn't heard that before. It was interesting to think about. Raygeology says, do you have any interest in covering the current exposure of abuses in the game industry and the Chud's reaction to it? Maybe sometime. I'm not super familiar with it. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, oh gosh, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they go by James Stephanie Sterling, unless that has changed. The Jimquisition, unless, again, I haven't seen the channel in a long time. So let me know if I'm naming incorrectly. They have a really good channel on YouTube that covers malfeasance within the game industry.
It's just when you force it on people and not, oh no, I guess this is actually a comment from somebody else. It's just when you force it on other people and not them do their thing. That's kind of crossing line. I'm in full support of veganism. Hell, I think some people in my family are, but at least they stick to what they're doing and let people do their thing. What's Deep Vegan gonna say now? Nobody is forcing anything on you, animal abuser. The only ones who are being forced to do anything are your victims, who are forced to suffer and die because you pay for them to be tortured and murdered just because you want to. You're not the victim, regardless of how much you want to see yourself as one. The animals are the victim, you're victims. You don't support veganism because you're not vegan. That's like supporting the act of respecting gay people while being homophobic. It makes no sense whatsoever. And if you were supportive of veganism, you would think it was a good thing that animal rights activists like myself are trying to convince people to go vegan and calling...
Saying fuck the victims of 9/11 is not convincing anyone of anything other than the fact that you're an asshole. So, not the recruiting tool you're looking for. Oh, did I already show this? I got a purple faceplate for my PS5 controller, too. Gotta stay on brand.
them out for being animal abusers.
Bee
But you
cleanse.
don't think it's
Thank
good
you.
because you don't support veganism, which is why you want to silence us, because you want animal
Probably Cthulhu's dramatic reading of the year. It's Stephanie. Are they just going by Stephanie now? Commander Stephanie Sterling. See, I was under they, them, pan and trans, gender trash, and non-binary finery. 'Cause their channel is still Jim Sterling. I was under the impression that they were going by James Stephanie Sterling. But I'm not positive now. Now you have me second guessing it. And I don't want to dead name anybody or misgender them. Either way, that person's great.
animals to continue being tortured and murdered needlessly.
You think that's just for branding reasons? Okay. I'll have to watch their videos and see what they say. I haven't watched their videos in a while. But for now, I'll say Stephanie. Just in case. I don't know. Red Werewolf says, I believe their full name is still James Stephanie Sterling, but they go by Stephanie mostly. Okay, I'll stick with Stephanie then. Apologies if that's not what they would prefer. Sorry.
So this is what happened today on Deep Vegan's post. If you want to follow him, his account is deep_vegan. He has 553 followers. And yeah, tell him I said hi. Here are some other things that he posts. He has a TikTok account. Let's see what this is about.
None of that had to be done for animals because people have been eating animals from the dawn of time.
That is completely irrelevant to whether it is ethical or not. Just because something has been going on for a long time doesn't mean it's automatically justified in any situation.
Interesting. Let's keep watching that one.
Imagine if black people were still enslaved today, and that had been going on since the dawn of time. Would the enslavement of black people then be completely fine?
No. People make bad arguments against veganism and vegetarianism all the time. I see it regularly. Honestly, and this is true, and this is probably just because of practice, but most vegans and vegetarians I've come across are so much better at arguing in favor of their positions than any omnivorous person I've ever met, just because usually I don't think people feel the need to defend their eating meat and cheese and stuff, just because that's the norm in society right now. So when rando people on the internet or in real life get confronted with, veganism or vegetarianism as an ideology, like philosophically, not just as a practicality, but when people are discussing the ethical implications of eating meat or animal products, omnivorous individuals like myself tend to be really, 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 really bad at expressing why they think it's okay to eat meat or cheese or whatever, because they just haven't thought about it. So then you end up with dumb people saying like, well, animals don't pay taxes, or people have always eaten meat, because people are really bad at getting their views across and haven't really thought about things like that. I don't know. Again, I still eat meat. I still eat animal products. I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but you know. I just find it interesting. If you're going to engage in a conversation like that, be prepared. Or don't engage. Whatever. What if we found out plants feel pain? That'd be a shame. That would imply that plants have a consciousness, though. Which would be a whole other... That honestly, if plants had a consciousness, wouldn't that be awful? That'd be like, I have no mouth, but I must scream, right? They're just stationary objects, basically, that are alive and have feelings and emotions, but they're unable to interact with their environment in any meaningful way. That would be terrible.
No, it wouldn't be fine. For the same reason that it's not fine to torture and murder animals, even though it's completely unnecessary. Appeal to tradition is a fallacy, and you would have to be really dumb to think it's a good argument.
I never said I agree with animal cruelty. All I said is I don't agree with racism from white vegans. I hate the way they treat animals in the meat industry, and I really do wish there was a way more ethical way for us to get meat. All I'm saying is I agree with humans eating meat.
You don't agree with animal cruelty, and yet you are directly paying people to torture and murder animals for you just because you love chicken nuggets. You don't
Yes.
like how the animals are treated.
For all you know, and I don't think she probably does, for all you know, she ethically sources her meat. Because people's view on what is and is not animal abuse is different. To a vegan or vegetarian, the act of slaughtering an animal in the first place, regardless of how it's done, is animal abuse. That's a fair philosophical viewpoint to have. Not everyone agrees with it, but I understand where they're coming from there. But someone who is omnivorous, who eats meat, and doesn't have an issue with the slaughtering of animals for food, there is a line where the way where you are treating them breaches abuse. But before that, if you treat the animals well and kill them in a way that is quick and as painless as possible, they consider that ethical. That's why it's a discussion about the philosophy of it. And I know, vegan viewers and vegetarian viewers hear me say this and they go, what the fuck? What the fuck's the point? You're killing them either way. I know, I understand that. I'm just trying to explain to you the viewpoint that non-vegans and vegetarians have. I'm not telling you have to agree with it. I know you're not going to, understandably. Anadon Erahart, thanks for 8 months, says, everything is in fire,
treated, and yet you keep paying for it because you enjoy it. Here, let me show you how stupid you sound. I don't agree with black cruelty. Like, I hate how black people are treated, and I wish there was a better way for us to enslave black people. All I'm saying is, I'm okay with owning slaves.
I know he's doing a comparison, but, Again, most people don't see human beings and animals as morally equivalent, so when you make suggestions that they are, people don't tend to like that. Cast Iron Pan says, I think it might be a kind of cognitive dissonance. People don't want to think that their actions are unethical, so when a vegan brings up a good point, they get defensive. Probably. Pyromancer says, sounds about as dumb as someone who doesn't care about people who died on 9/11. Yeah.
Yes, you agree with animal cruelty because you directly support it. You passionately defend it. So please, spare me this complete bullshit.
So does this guy support child slavery or, like, sweatshop labor because he buys clothes? Again, we're doing a comparison here, and it's not one-to-one, but what I'm trying to say is we all partake in unethical or less than ethical activities under capitalism because of the way that the economy is organized. Animals suffer and die. Humans suffer and die in poverty when they don't need to. It's bad. The system needs to be reformed completely. Global capitalism has fucked over so many people so other people can enrich themselves. It's real bad, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like someone once said there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Who was that? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is treating anyone who partakes in what you consider to be a less than ethical activity because their actions directly cause the suffering of another being. I know it's Marx. I was making a joke. I don't read theory, but I do know that one. Simply because they take part in an activity that causes that only kind of works if you yourself don't buy anything ever.
Words don't mean anything when your actions go directly against them. Forcing somebody into a slaughterhouse and slitting their throat just because you're addicted to their flesh, that is animal cruelty. You're literally murdering someone just because you enjoy it.
But what you're not going to do is sit here and attack black and indigenous people of color instead of targeting the big corporations. How does that work?
Oh, but I am. I am going to call out anyone who supports and defends unnecessary animal cruelty. I am going to defend the animals no matter what. Because they value their lives just like you value yours. And those big corporations, they exist because of you. You literally pay them to torture and murder animals. And guess what they do? They do the exact same thing you do. Instead of holding themselves accountable.
That's basically the plot for The Good Place. Yep, The Good Place is a great show. Weirdly, The Good Place, which is a network TV show, which I'd recommend. No one spoil the first season or any of The Good Place for anyone, because I want people to go see it. It's one of the shows I own on Blu-ray because I love it so much. The Good Place really, really illustrates how almost every action we take in a global economy that doesn't put the quality of life for people in the forefront and instead puts profits in the forefront creates a system where we are all feeding into an unethical system that hurts people. It's basically, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, the show, once it gets into it a little later. It's very interesting. I don't know. Mike Mack says that's basically the plot. Oh, I read that one. Sorry. Pyromancer says, I like how this is mostly his video with little content added by the vegan teacher. Yeah, she does that. Don't spoil the first season. Yep, don't do it. Just watch the show. Just watch it. And if you're like, I'm not really feeling this after 2 or 3 episodes, at least get through the first season, okay? The show is different than what you think it is. Just watch the first season. I think it's on Netflix, or at least it was. I don't know if it still is.
They just point the finger at the consumer and be like, oh, but they're buying.
It has one of the best finales of any TV show, too. It ran, I think, for 3 or 4 seasons. I think 4. Perfect all the way through.
Yeah, they're responsible because they're doing something.
Ted Danson is sexy. That's the twist. True. I'm not usually into, older, people. Ted Danson's attractive. Ted Danson is an attractive dude. Maps and Mimic says, oh my gosh, I finished all of The Good Place in a week and a half. I cried my eyes out during the series finale. Tucker White says, The Good Place, spoiler alert, Rosebud is the sled. It is on Netflix. Good. Everyone go check out The Good Place on Netflix. Devious Chilter says, I'm unsure if they understand how racist sounding comparing civil rights to the rights of animals can sound to the average human. Yeah, I don't think they do. A little bit of, an ounce of pragmatism will save you a pound of explaining why you're not a racist.
Horrible. And you're also responsible because you keep paying them so they can continue doing it. You're like, oh, but target the corporations. And then you're like, here, corporations, take my money. Continue doing what you're doing. It's basic supply and demand. They keep doing what they're doing because you want them to keep doing it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be paying for it.
And you can sit there as a white person and tell a native how they should practice their culture and when they should practice their culture after you literally try to erase it. Are you out of your mind? You have no right to do so. Know your place.
Yes, I can sit right here and tell you that your culture justifies nothing. That you have no right to oppress others just because it's in your culture. How can you be so
Before you click on that comment, no cheating. Guess what color they are?
Daddy Sume says, okay, about The Good Place, the finale of that show gave me the worst panic attack ever. I legit had to go to the hospital and get Xanax to calm me down. Wow, that's surprising. I love the finale. That's interesting. I don't want to get into it because, for one thing, I don't want to, give you anxiety, but also I don't want to spoil it. So I'm sorry to hear that. Tube Man says, that is also like the manga anime called The Promised Neverland about kids who find out they're being raised on free-range children farms for demons. I think that's the only anime premise I've ever heard that actually made me go, should I watch that? Red Werewolf says, my sister named her cat Eleanor after The Good Place. Aw, how cute.
It honestly takes some type of talent to be this tone deaf. Baby, me eating a chicken wing is not the root of all oppression. It's you! It's you! White women have not said anything intelligent since Susan B. Anthony. I know.
That's a little funny. No. Noetic Fox says, at 18 you can enter a contract where they pay you for expenses until you're 36 when they kill you for meat. This is called the Kobe program. Is it ethical? And do you enter it? Me? Yes, yes. Wow. I can't say I agree. Rachology says, the twist got spoiled for me. Still worth watching? Yeah. It's still a really great show, regardless of the twists and stuff. I'd recommend it. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, she reminds me of a lot less problematic Professor Flowers. I dig it. And Daddy Sume says, I'm okay now. Also, I have Rescues Annex now, so I can head it off at the pass. But that ending has some of my biggest fears, being left alone, and the idea just sent me into a spiral. Sure.
Y'all think that's random, but that's legit the only white woman I can remember right now.
Why is it that so many of these anti-racist warriors are very racist themselves? Like, you are literally dismissing what people say only based on their physical appearance. And before you say, you can't be racist towards white people because they're not oppressed. It doesn't matter what you call it, it's the same thing. And also, is this supposed to be some sort of flex? Like, look at this person. They're against torturing and mass murdering animals. Guess what?
No, she was pointing out that it was silly that you claimed, or whoever it was claimed, that the source of all, like, oppression in the history of humanity is speciesism. That's really stupid. Sexism, racism, classism, all of these things lead to the oppression of fellow human beings. Slow Dog with 100 bits says, Bortles! Stephen J. Neptune Man says, comparing slavery to animal cruelty never works out. I remember a wrestler once tweeting a meme saying, we still have slavery today, animal slavery, and the only response was, did she seriously just compare animals to black people? Yeah, not a winning strategy. Not a winning strategy.
What color they are? White. It's so typical of white people to respect animals. Like, is that supposed to be an insult or something?
No, the insult is that you don't recognize the kinds of oppression that have affected non-white, like, people throughout history, or women, whatever. That's what she's dunking on.
Are you saying that white people are less egocentric? They care more about the lives of others? They care more about not enslaving, violating, torturing, and murdering others?
Her camera work! I keep forgetting she's just like... Guys, like, okay, what I do is considered fair use, right? And what a lot of other people on Twitch and YouTube do is considered fair use because we are taking other people's content and we are transforming it. It's called being transformative, right? Criticizing, commenting on, whatever, on this thing. Comedy, whatever. There's all sorts of different things that go into fair use. That vegan teacher is literally just stealing his video and just posting it and then occasionally, like, panning the camera to some sticky notes. This isn't very transformative. Little Money says, hi Hannah, as a mom of a child that is still trying their way, lesbian, gay, or bi, I want to help other kids that are in that situation. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Because if that's the point you're making...
I'm glad kids at least are... I mean, it's probably rough because the political climate's so, you know, what it is. But I'd imagine kids these days at least grow up with peers and a lot of adults who are supportive of them, like, learning who they are. Like, recognizing, you know, trans people exist. So, hey, if you're feeling like you want to explore your gender identity, you can do that. And we'll make sure you're not, you know... Probably depends upon the school, but, you know, hey, we'll make sure that if anyone bullies you or whatever, we'll kind of take care of it and whatever. kids are more open about other kids being gay or bi or whatever than they ever were, or ace or anything like that. Like, that's great. That's awesome. Even compared to when I was in school, which was like 10 years ago now. Daddy Sume says, this is worse than Ray Williams Johnson shit. Devious Chilster says, I mean, it's about as transformative as her way of trying to convert people to veganism.
Then you're kind of being racist towards yourself. Because having empathy and compassion for animals, being against the oppression of animals, being against the animal holocaust is not a negative thing.
Again, comparing slaughterhouses to the Holocaust, not a great look. Even if, and I'm not telling him he can't even feel that way, because, you know, I'm not all about policing people's, oh, you live in Trump land? That's gotta be fucking rough. I'm sorry. It'll get better. What was I saying? I'm not big on policing people's feelings, right? Because people have feelings, and I'm not going to change people's feelings. I'm just not. So, like, this guy thinking in his own head that, like, killing animals for food is somehow morally equivalent to the Holocaust. I disagree, obviously. But if he thinks that, he thinks that. Pragmatically speaking, it's like the worst thing you could do to try and further your viewpoint to other people. They're immediately going to shut down, and they're going to say, what are you talking about, you insane person? You're comparing the Holocaust that killed 6 million Jewish people and millions of others who were considered, you know, not worthy to live by the Nazis, and you're comparing that to killing animals who people, again, do not consider morally equivalent to humans. I'm not telling you you can't think they are, or that they even aren't in some objective way, whatever that even means for this. I'm telling you, if you are trying to convince other people, then you need to consider their viewpoint. And the vast majority of people do not consider non-human animals to be moral equivalents to human beings in terms of their lives, their deaths, their feelings. I'm not telling you you can't feel that way, but you need to tailor your arguments for people who do feel that way if you want to convince anyone. And just coming out and saying the animal holocaust immediately shuts everyone down and makes people think vegans are assholes when they really aren't. I've never known a vegan like this in real life. Every vegan I've ever met is a wonderful, caring person. Like, this just makes vegans look bad. It's so ridiculous and it makes me so mad.
But it's also complete bullshit. Because whether someone is black or white is completely irrelevant to whether or not they respect animals. And yes, speciesism definitely is the root of all oppression. We're all taught from birth to respect certain species while enslaving, violating, torturing, and murdering other species by the trillions every single year just because they look different, which is the same mindset as a racist. Your human supremacist mindset is just as bad as a white supremacist mindset. Your belief that other species exist for you to use and abuse however you want is the exact same mindset which allowed white people to enslave black people. White people enslaved black people because they looked different. Just like humans enslave, torture, and murder trillions.
That's racism. That's not speciesism. There are different words for different things. We also have sexism, where for most of human history, this is going to depend upon the culture and area, but let's say on average, women have not had as many rights as men. Right? That's not speciesism. That's just sexism. Classism, thinking that people who have less money or means than you are somehow lesser than you. That's not speciesism. That's classism. There are names for these things, and they're completely different than speciesism, which is a term you guys have come up with to describe humans' differing views morally between humans and animals. Which is fine. You can feel that way. I'm not saying you're wrong. I am saying that is a different discussion than racism or sexism or classism or any of the things that deal with, like, interhuman conflict and oppression.
Billions of animals every single year just because they look different. And you
Nick says, did white people eat black people? Tucker White says, okay, that vegan chud is insufferable to listen to, so here's a 1-minute clip of incredibly stupid ad. Okay. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, my mother is a lesbian, and I love when homophobes say gay people don't reproduce, and I just point out my 2 thumbs at me like Bob Kelso. Good shit.
In the car? On a plane? Snazzy Napper is here. The snazzy way to sleep while you travel. The Snazzy Napper is a comfortable and cool, soft and lightweight sleep and privacy shield that blocks out distracting light. You could use the extra large Snazzy Napper as a blanket. A soft nose clip allows the shield to gently contour around the nose and shut out light. The cushioned eye guard provides maximum comfort and light exclusion. An oval nose opening on the Snazzy Napper provides for easy breathing. Get a comfortable fit with the Snazzy Napper with adjustable straps. While others toss and turn trying to get comfortable, you can rest and relax with the Snazzy Napper. Snazzy Napper is so convenient and easy.
Why do you need a whole thing? Like, if the idea is, well, some eye blocker things, the light peeks in, then you get one of these. I've had these before. They block all the light. Why do you need a whole blanket over your head when you can just get an eye mask? They make ones that block out all light. I've owned them before.
Easy to use. It's like
Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, the absolute first thing I would do if my wife used that was put a banana in the slit. Logard says, why? For the glory of satin, of course?
privacy in a bag. Handy pockets make storing your glasses, your phone, or other items so
I have a purse.
convenient. Order your Snazzy Napper now.
What the fuck?
Fully support it. Just because it brings you pleasure. Just because it's convenient. Just like owning a black slave was. Non-human animals are by far the most oppressed group of individuals in existence. Nothing we humans do to each
I mean, by mass, insects are like the most populous species on the planet, and I don't think we're oppressing insects, so I'm just gonna say the math doesn't check out on that one. I know that's a bad argument. I'm just making a joke.
each other even comes close to what we do to non-human animals. And I just find it sad that you don't realize that your mindset is the mindset of every other oppressor on this planet, which is that you value yourself
Can we watch something else? There's only like a minute left.
so extremely far above everyone who was born different that you don't even think they
Stop using that doll that you used in your racist video where you used the N-word. For the love of God, it just makes me keep thinking of that video.
deserve respect. And guess who also have that mindset? Racists, sexists, homophobes, Nazis, you name it. It all stems from that extremely egocentric, self-assigned superiority. It's just so sad. It's really fucking sad.
So this is the Instagram by this guy named Deep Vegan. If you'd like to continue to follow him, you can find him on Instagram under deep_vegan. If you'd like to find me, I am that vegan teacher, Miss Katie, all one word. Thanks for being here.
Terrible. Oh no, he has a... God damn it. He add his Instagram too.
Thanks for being here.
Did she not link to him? I'll save him for another day, and we'll check in on some of his other trash. But for now, we're moving on, because that's all I can deal with from him.